and this is an update. As you can see from the thumbnail, it is a breaking news update, and this is in regards to the 2007 unaliving of Meredith Kercher, who was a young Italian woman who was roommates with Amanda Knox, and Amanda Knox got charged with her unaliving with very little evidence to back that up and really poor investigation skills. But anyways, so she is now yet to face some more charges. She's been exonerated or cleared of all the other charges at this point twice now. But she still has this like slander, excuse me, or libel case or something against her. So I'm going to read an article and then we're going to watch a quick news segment on this. Before we get into it all, please hit the like button, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. I really appreciate it. And just you being here, I appreciate. So let's get started. Amanda Knox to face yet another trial in Italy. What we know about the latest claims. This is a Forbes article written by Mary Whitfield Roloffs, and she covers breaking news. Now that we have that established. So this was an article that was published yesterday on the Forbes website. Yesterday, oh no, this is today. Sorry, I'm thinking today is the 11th. I've got my days mixed up. Today is the 10th of April, and this was just posted. So this is like breaking. All right. So an Italian court is opening a new criminal slander trial Wednesday against Amanda Knox, the woman who wrongfully served 4 years in jail for the unaliving of her roommate during a study abroad trip in 2007 for her false accusation that her boss and local bar owner Patrick Lumumba was responsible for the unaliving of the then 21-year-old Meredith Kercher, a claim she says she made under duress. So she was a foreign exchange student basically doing this like study abroad program, and she was rooming with an Italian woman named Meredith Kercher, who I don't know how close or friendly they were, but I mean, they weren't not friendly, so I don't know. I mean, it just seems very odd that she would do this and out of nowhere, but Italy made it seem like there's this big sex scandal and it was like a three-way that gone wrong or something. I don't know. So, anyways, none of the stories ever fit the evidence. All right, so Knox is an American who was 20 years old when her roommate her life was ended, and she and her ex-boyfriend were immediately the prime suspects in the case. A status that earned her a 53-hour interrogation session in the days immediately following the unaliving that she had said included physical abuse by police officers without a lawyer or an interpreter present. Can you even imagine that? I mean, 5 hours would be torture, yet alone 53 hours of an interrogation with people who speak a different language and are threatening you and putting their hands on you. Not cool. Italy, not cool at all. All right, so after that interrogation, she signed an Italian language confession implicating herself and accusing Lumumba, the owner of a bar that she worked at part-time, of ending the life of Kercher, according to the New York Times. Knox later recanted the claim against Lumumba. This was hours later she recanted, but she went on to be found guilty of defamation in 2009 for her accusation. Years later, in 2019, the European Court of Human Rights concluded Knox's defense rights had been violated during her time at the police station. Last November, the defamation conviction was thrown out based on the Human Rights Court's ruling, but Italy on Wednesday opened a new trial against her that will decide if she can be held responsible for slandering Lumumba, who also spent 2 weeks in jail. 2 weeks versus her 4 years. Come on now. And she signed it under duress. How was she supposed to know that she was even implicating him? All right, so he lost his business and moved his family out of Italy following the accusation, The Guardian reported. Okay, so he did lose his business, but I don't think that's the responsibility of Amanda Knox. I think that lies in the investigators and the way that this case was investigated, not in she named him, because you can name another suspect in the course of an investigation, and that's not slander or defamation in any way in the United States. So it's odd that that's what they're going with. They really want to get her, I guess. They're like, we've been made fools by Knox, so let's try to get her on defamation. Whatever. So Knox said on her podcast, Labyrinths, it's called, that she would testify in the new trial but had not traveled to Italy as of Wednesday. Her lawyer reportedly said she is busy taking care of 2 young children, one of whom was born recently. So she is a mother of 2 young children. And she's married. She's living with her family in, I think, Seattle. And she's trying to raise a family and also help people who are wrongfully convicted. This slander case is the last open legal inquiry against Knox in Italy, who returned to the United States in 2001 and now works as an advocate for the wrongfully convicted. Knox was studying abroad, living with Kercher, an exchange student from Britain. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought Kercher was Italian. I am totally wrong on that. I take that back. I am corrected. She was from Britain. They were staying in Italy in 2007. She returned to the pair's shared apartment one night with her then boyfriend, Raphael Solicito, to find Kercher's door locked and BLOOD in the bathroom. Police found Kercher stabbed to lose her life in her bedroom. She had also been SA'd. Despite her innocence, Knox and Solicito were detained by police and interrogated when Knox gave them a false confession that placed her at the scene of the crime during the time of the unaliving. She told police she was covering her ears to block out Kercher's screams and accused Lumumba of committing the crime. Hours later, she recanted the statement and said it was made under the pressures of stress, shock, and extreme exhaustion. Knox and Solicito, she probably hadn't slept in 53 hours either. Knox and Solicito were convicted of the unaliving in 2009. So both of them were convicted. She was acquitted on appeal and freed in 2011. In 2015, the pair were exonerated by Italy's highest court. By the time Knox and Solicito were acquitted, a then 20-year-old named Rudy, I cannot remember how you pronounce that. This Rudy guy had been convicted of the crime. He was released from prison in 2001. The case sparked a media frenzy that saw Knox nicknamed Foxy Knoxy by the tabloids. She was labeled by the media as an unsophisticated American, an exhibitionist and slob, and a sexual deviant, according to the Times, which is just completely irresponsible reporting. That's not reporting. That is slander. That's an actual case of slander, not naming someone else in a case under duress in a 53-hour police investigation. She hosts a true crime podcast with her husband. There is an upcoming documentary. Monica Lewinsky is working with Knox and her husband, Chris Robinson, to produce a limited series on Hulu that will chronicle Knox's experience with the Italian legal system. Hulu has ordered 8 one-hour episodes for the series, according to Variety, which is based on the true story of how Knox was wrongfully convicted for the unaliving of her roommate, Meredith Kercher, and her 16-year odyssey to set herself free. Margaret Qualley of Maid and Poor Things has been cast as Knox. Variety reported last month several on-screen projects and books have already chronicled the story, including a Lifetime movie that aired in 2011 and a 2016 Netflix documentary, which has a lot of Knox interviews of Knox and investigators and everything. It's a really good documentary if you are interested. I believe that ends our article, yes. And so interesting that they are bringing these charges back for some reason. I'm going to flip screens here and go to this article, or not article, news segment. So this was an NBC5 news segment on YouTube that I found, which is basically a recap of what we said, but it gives it a little bit more detail and has pictures. So here we go.
When you hear the name Amanda Knox, you probably recall the salacious details of the Italian murder case that became a years-long global tabloid extravaganza. The captivating headlines about a violent sex game gone wrong with Knox's then-boyfriend and 21-year-old British roommate. Her supposedly strange and lackadaisical behavior after the murder. The nickname, Foxy Knoxy, thrust upon her by the media that painted her as a sex-crazed, twisted seducer and swarmed over every twist and turn. For Amanda Knox, that's a problem. It's been more than 8 years since Italy's highest court overturned her murder conviction, essentially clearing her after she spent 4 years in prison. But most people don't remember that part as vividly.
I'm sure people will still hold it against me because they don't want to understand what happened, and they don't want to accept that an innocent person could be gaslit and coerced into what I went through.
Now Amanda Knox is facing another.
And that is one of the biggest reasons that I started this channel, is because of wrongful convictions and how people are coerced into confessions. And it is something that I think is just an egregious error that is in our justice system right now and needs to be addressed, needs to be fixed. This is Italy. This is what they did in Italy, but it's no different than a lot of cases that we're talking about in the US that have wrongful convictions. I'm doing a deep dive into Brendan Dassey's 6 interviews with law enforcement and one with his lawyer's investigator, and basically all of them pressured him into saying things against Stephen Avery and implicating himself in the crimes. Every single one of his interrogations, 6 with law enforcement, if you could believe that. All right, back to this. Sorry.
Another trial, and hoping this one will clear her name for good.
Amanda Knox probably realizes that even if she's completely exonerated by all Italian courts, public perception of her, among many, will still be that she is a killer who got away.
The focus of this trial, slander. During the murder investigation, Knox had pointed the finger in a written statement at a Congolese bar owner who was jailed for 2 weeks but ultimately cleared. Prosecutors say that was slander. An earlier slander conviction against Knox was thrown out last year, but Italy's top court has ordered a new trial. Knox has said she wrote that statement under pressure after hour upon hour of interrogation.
Ordinarily in the States, giving investigators a lead into who you actually thought committed the crime is hardly slander. It's usually just helping the police.
This case, the latest layer of a true crime drama that's unfolded over the course of more than 16 years. Meredith Kercher was found dead in a pool of blood in the apartment she and Knox shared in November 2007. Another man from the Ivory Coast was convicted in 2008 and put in prison. But Knox and her boyfriend were tried separately and also convicted.
That was that Rudy Guaday, or however, I cannot remember how you say his last name. It's going to drive me nuts. I'm going to have to look back on some documentaries and remember it. But anyways, here we go.
Convicted for Kercher's murder in 2009. Even after that conviction was thrown out in 2015, the publicity circus didn't stop. Knox became the subject of a series of documentaries, movies, and now a limited series on Hulu, produced by Knox herself. Knox is now 36, a mother of 2 young kids, and an advocate for criminal justice reform. On social media, Knox calling her new trial a good thing and a chance to prove her innocence once and for all.
Josh is joining us now. So on that note, Josh, we know that Knox isn't planning to be in court tomorrow, but she is going to testify at some point, right?
Yeah, so court starts this Wednesday, I guess, in Italy for this particular defamation trial. Knox is not there yet, like we read, but she potentially might be there in the future to testify, which would be pretty huge.
Yeah, that's right. So this all kicks off tomorrow in Florence, Hallie, and it's expected to be behind closed doors. And while her lawyer said that she's not expected in court tomorrow, Amanda Knox said on her podcast she does expect to testify during the course of this trial. And this entire case, Hallie, has one piece of evidence in it. The only evidence in this case is that 4-page statement that she gave while she says she was in the middle of some 53 hours of interrogation, obviously over multiple days. She says that was not the kind of conditions that she could be expected to be able to testify reliably. In fact, her previous conviction on these slander charges was objected to and thrown out after a European human rights court said that her human rights had been violated because she had been denied access to a lawyer and that kind of a thing. But Amanda...
So what would you do if you were in that situation? Write down in the comments below what you think you would do if you were in a situation such as Amanda's, you couldn't understand. There's a language barrier, number one. Number two, you were being accused of a crime in another country and you have no legal representation, no one there on your side to back you up, and you're just being interrogated by officers for 53 hours. That means no sleep. She probably didn't get very much food. She was probably very uncomfortable just sitting there, for so long. It was 53 hours is a long time to be interrogated by police. That right there, I mean, I think there should be like time limits on interrogations.
Knox hoping that this is going to make the difference for her, because she says that these slander allegations against her have been a key reason that many people in Italy, and frankly even in the U.S., Hallie, doubt her innocence. Slander, unlike in the U.S. where it's a civil thing, you can sue somebody for money. In Italy, it is actually a criminal offense. But Amanda Knox hoping that she will be cleared of this allegation, and it will finally put this entire legal and publicity scandal behind her once and for all. Hallie?
Josh Letterman live for us with more on that, I'm sure, to come in the days ahead.
So that is the end of that, and that's where I'm going to leave you. I wanted to do just a quick update on this story because this story has always fascinated me. I've watched all the documentaries, the movies, everything. I've read all the articles and tried to, really follow this case. And I just think it's really insane how you can convict someone on such little evidence. Same with Brendan Dassey. Same with so many other cases that we talk about on my channel, and it's amazing. And Italian judicial system is totally different, but it does not appear that there were proper investigative techniques done in the beginning, collecting evidence and whatnot. I think the this crime scene was tainted by officers just not doing what they were supposed to do to keep it free and clear of being tainted from outside evidence coming in. So I don't know on this case. I really don't. I don't know what Italy is thinking, trying to come at her with more charges. What do you guys think? Do you think she'll get these charges thrown out as well? Probably. Hopefully. I mean, come on. How long is it now that this has happened? Why are you bringing her back to court? It's crazy. I don't think she did anything wrong by bringing this guy up. Because, well, even if she didn't bring him up, maybe the police brought him up. We don't know. So either way, I think Italy's reaching. Let me know in the comments below what you think, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. If you've been impacted by a true crime and would like your story told in your own words, or if you or someone you know has been wrongfully convicted or accused of a crime, please write to crimeincourtchannel@gmail.com and tell us your real true crime encounters. Thanks for watching.